doing what I do, acting, it's not just acting, it's, what goes into becoming an actor. People see the end result, they see the lights, they see the premieres, they see the movies. They don't see the time that you put in by yourself. They don't see the lonely journey. They don't see the moments where you're sleeping in your car, the moments you stay up all night, man, studying these lines, rehearsing, and then you go into audition and you don't get it, but somehow you still have faith and believe that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
So, thank you, first of all. Let's talk about where you are right now. People are calling you one of the most dynamic young actors in America, or just actors, period. Let's drop the word young. You're doing your thing. How do you feel when you get all these accolades about your work? And you said you started when you were 11 years old, but here you are now, about to be in this major Marvel film called Black Panther.
Oh man, that's it's epic, man. I guess because in the beginning I never really started off acting. I never got into the industry on purpose. It was something that just kind of happened, I've told the story a million times, but my mom, she was at a doctor's appointment. She has lupus, and I was sitting in the waiting room, and the receptionist was like, you should get your son into modeling, because she had 2 boys that was in the industry. So I went and crashed one of their auditions, and I booked the first one that I went out on, and it just was like a snowball effect. It just went from one thing to the next. And I never really, as a kid, I didn't really, always dream or watch movies and be like, I want to be an actor or anything like that. I was just, I was so young at the time, I was just being a kid, and it just kind of evolved. So, when I get all these accolades and, and all these achievements, it's kind of surreal, I think for a long time I used to feel like I didn't deserve it. I used to feel like it wasn't, like why me? Like all my friends and peers and stuff growing up, we had the same kind of life, and could have made the same choices and walked the same streets and did a lot of the same things. Like, why did I go this way? And out of everybody else, and it's yeah, it's kind of surreal, man, because I fell in love with acting. I learned to appreciate the craft, and the art of telling stories, and
And you started, where you have like this bi-coastal life that you've had, California and the East Coast.
Yep.
Where did this happen? Were you in the doctor's office with your mother? Was that California?
I was in New Jersey.
Okay, what part of New Jersey?
I was in Newark, New Jersey. Yeah, I can't remember exactly. Yeah, Brick City.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I can't remember exactly where the doctor's appointment was, but it was in it was on the East Coast. I was born in Orange County till I was 2, and then I moved to New Jersey, and then I was out there till I was about 18, 19, and then moved back out here and been here ever since.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was the first acting thing you did then?
First acting job. It might have been a PSA for like Big Brothers Big Sisters. It was something like super small. Commercial. Like it was like a PSA. I don't even think it ever aired on TV. I think it only ran within like the Big Brother Big Sister kind of like organization internally or whatnot. But I was on The Sopranos as like, background extra work.
Late
I was like,
90s, early 2000, okay.
Exactly, yeah. Something like that. And did a lot of print work, for like the Sunday paper, Models and Toys R Us and all these little like,
you were in all those things.
Frito-Lay and Doritos, little like,
So
little,
the work was happening.
I've always had an early level of some type of success, it was, and that's kind of, I think as a kid, what kept me going. It was like, oh man, I'm kind of good at this, and let's see, what's next, what's around that corner, what's going on, and all those small little successes just kind of added up to this path that I was on.
So when was the first time you actually used the word actor to describe yourself then?
Man, probably on All My Children. I think it was probably right around the time I joined the soaps. It was after The Wire. I got killed off The Wire, and then immediately after, I went out on this audition in New York, for All My Children, and I got it, and I went to the daytime Emmys a lot, and
How old were you?
16.
16 years old.
16.
Okay.
Yeah, I was about 16, and yeah, I think that was the first time I ever kind of like owned up to what I was doing. Up until I guess The Wire was the first time I fell in love with acting. Towards the end of the show, I was like, okay, this is something that I might be able to do for a living. All the older veteran actors, like Idris Elba and, Dominic West and Andre Royo, who I credit a lot of, my drive and kind of, just man, this is an option for me. Acting, maybe I can make a career out of this. He kind of put that, planted that seed in me. And so I think that was the first time I kind of like owned up and was like, you know what, I'm an actor, but still had the fear that it was always going to go away, or I didn't think I never saw this ever happening.
How did your peers growing up respond to, hey, that's him in an ad, that's him on TV, that's him on a soap opera? How did they respond to you?
I think my close friends always gave me shit. I think they always kind of, busted my chops.
Right.
Because I was on a soap opera, you know what I mean? And it was like, just the stereotype, stereotypical kind of like, soap operas, might be over dramatic or whatever. And they always used to give me crap about it. But then I was always working, I guess they always respected the hustle. They always respected that, I was working and I was doing something, and I made a choice really young to kind of lock in and try to see this thing through.
But you were going to school, regular schools and everything. You weren't out of school per se.
No, the first 2 years of high school, I was in high school. I went to Arts High in Newark, New Jersey. And the last 2 years, I got homeschooled.
Okay.
Because I was just working so much. I was missing so many days of school. And that environment, they really encourage their students to pursue the arts and arts and hone in their craft. So I had 2 hours a day in my major, and then I started getting homeschooled, and it really, at that point, I really kind of made a decision that I wasn't going to college, and I was going to trying to pursue this thing full force, and planned on moving out to LA when I graduated high school, and just to see this thing through. And my parents always really supported me, but my dad was always the one that acting always kind of came easy to me, and I don't think he saw me, in his eyes at the time, saw me really taking it seriously in his mind. And he always used to tell me, you need to take it serious. You need to take something seriously, no matter what it is, just take it seriously. And then eventually when that kind of clicked to me in my head, and I really started to, kind of see the pieces, and kind of was able to see, man, if I did this and I do this and maybe in that, and anything that's not conventional, that's not your, your typical career path, you're not your average career path, you gotta trick yourself into believing you're doing what you're supposed to do. Like, you almost have to having faith in yourself and having hope, having faith, that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing is one thing, but you gotta believe that this is your destiny and this is what you're supposed to be doing in life, if you really want it, and that's what I had to do.
Family, I get the impression you come from a very close-knit, supportive family. Can you talk about how important family was for you growing up, especially given this non-conventional life that you had? Yeah,
family was super important to me. Like, my mom and dad, they've been together 33 years, for a really long time. And just growing up, my dad, always, and my mom, they always set the example of, family first. You take care of your family, you take care of your family, you take care of your family. Like, this is our support group. We hold each other accountable and we hold each other up. That's it's instilled in me as a kid. I celebrated Kwanzaa growing up. Wow. Like, it was just like, the 7 principles. It was things that was just always, around me. And then especially when I started, down this, in the industry, of course, my parents must have heard a million horror stories, and the industry's this and the industry's that, and to kind of give them the reassurance that their son had their head on straight and wasn't going to get kind of like tempted by any of the pitfalls of the entertainment industry. We all definitely relied on each other to kind of like push through. And like, mom used to drive me to set it, all the auditions. She was a stage mom, what I'm saying, for a really long time. And if she couldn't go, then one of my my aunts would take me. If my aunt couldn't go, maybe one of my uncles would take me. It was definitely everybody kind of pitched in and helped me kind of pursue this.
And you have 2 siblings.
Yes.
Where you are in the...
I'm the middle. I'm the middle child. I have an older sister, Jamila, and a younger brother, Khalid.
Okay.
You know? And,
are they artists as well?
they're all in the arts as well. You know, more on the production, creative side.
Okay.
I'm the guy that was in, you know, that just so happened to be in front of the camera. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, that just worked. It just worked out because I guess I was into it first. Like my sister, you know, she went to, you know, Temple University. She graduated, you know, television communications. You know, my brother did the same thing. But I guess my early success at some point, you know, might have we all kind of somewhat fell into the same industry somewhat. And yeah.
So, who did you love as an actor when you were coming up? As a young actor, as a child actor, as a teenage actor, who did you absolutely love and say, this is the path that I want to go on?
You know, the funny thing is, I didn't have that many. I didn't have anyone as a kid growing up. I was really more into cartoons.
What cartoons?
And animation, like Dragon Ball Z and like DuckTales and, you know, and all the Disney Vault, you know what I'm saying? Like any Disney movies. Like I was the kid that was, you know, watching anime, you know, and comic books and that type of thing. But then I always could appreciate films, you know, like the Bad Boys and, you know, Armageddon and, you know, Rounders and even, you know, I even watched movies I wasn't supposed, like Scarface and, you know, The Godfathers and stuff like that, and Friday. You know, I eventually started to, you know, peel off into everything. So, but I think it always started, like my imagination, the fantasy element, you know, like it was always into like, you know, cartoons and anime and video games and stuff like that. That's kind of where it all started. But then it branched out into, you know, just storytelling in general.
So I'm trying to understand because I've looked it up, but how do you have the roots in both California and New Jersey? How did that happen?
My dad's from California.
Okay.
He's from South Central, Crenshaw, with all my uncles and stuff like that. My mom's from New Jersey. She moved to LA when she was 19, 20. Met my dad.
That's how it happened.
Yeah. They fell in love, you know, the whole thing. Had my sister, had me, you know. Then we moved out to, you know, Jersey to be around my mother's mother, my grandmother. And you know, because it takes a village, you know, and I think the support system on the East Coast, you know, for my mom, you know, was important as a family, and they made a decision and we went out east, and you know, that's where we were raised. So that's kind of how it's always been bi-coastal. So, you know, oddly enough, I have my dad's side of the family and some of my mom's side of the family out here in LA, and then I have a lot of my mom's family out on the East Coast too. So I've always, you know, summer vacations, basketball camps, I've always kind of came, family reunions, always went out to the West Coast growing up, and it was something about LA. I always knew I was going to move out here eventually. I just didn't know for what, and it just so happened it had to be for this stuff. Yeah.
So you finish high school. 18 years old.
18 years old.
You like, I'm coming out here.
Moving to LA.
Did you come by yourself?
I came by myself like the first 6 months. First 6 months I moved out. Then a buddy of mine, one of my best friend's older brother, moved out with me a little bit after that. And yeah, man, I mean, it was tough, you know.
How so?
Because, I mean, I was working, but I wasn't working enough. Like, I didn't really understand, like, what it really took to sustain, like, a life, you know, off of an actor's salary when you're not really, like, you know, a successful actor. I was on notable shows at the time that people knew who I was. Or like, oh, that's the guy. I mean, did we go to school together? Or, I mean, yeah, you look familiar. Like, who's that? Oh, yeah, that's the guy from The Wire or whatever. But that type of notability, you know, doesn't really translate into financial stability. So
what did you do?
Man, I mean, go for broke.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I was blessed enough to kind of like, after I got each job, you know, that whatever that check was would last me enough to, you know, where I would doubt and hope and get nervous and be like, oh man, I got to move back to Jersey, and then I would book something. And it would keep me there for a little bit longer. Like right when I was getting ready to give up, it was always something that kept me there for a little bit longer. You know, sleeping on my boy's couch, you know, and staying with friends, and I was blessed to really have, you know, a lot of friends out here in LA, you know, growing up that were like family and really, really helped me out, you know what I'm saying, and gave me that kind of comfort, you know what I'm saying, to withstand a storm. You know, I remember me and one of my best friends, Sterling, you know, we used to go to we went to Jack in the Box, and we were so broke, and we went out, tried to fill out job applications, you know what I'm saying, and work at Jack in the Box. This is after The Wire, this is after all that, you know what I'm saying? Oh man, all that, man. It was to the point where we were just like, man, we just gotta do what we gotta do. It's like, suck up our pride, man, we're gonna do it together, man, don't worry about it, you know what I'm saying? And we were overqualified.
You were overqualified?
Yeah, we couldn't get the job, we were overqualified. So it was...
They actually told you that?
Yeah, without a doubt. They were like, man, basically, like, what y'all doing here? And I think one of the guys back there, like, kind of knew who I was too, you know what I'm saying, in a sense, and it was just like one of those humbling experiences, man. I mean, even after all that, man, I remember I was a stand-in for I think it was for like a Nike commercial or a print ad. It was like for a Nike print ad back in the day. And I was a stand-in, you know what I'm saying? After a working actor, after like being at the daytime Emmys and doing this and doing that, and being on The Wire and all this stuff, and still had to humble myself enough to like do what I had to do, So yeah, man, it was tough, but in my head it was like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah. What was the bridge that got you past that period of just, how am I gonna make it here? How am I gonna actually earn a living on a regular basis as an actor? When did it really hit for you?
I mean, I remember getting ready, I gave my last check, savings and everything, It was, I was getting ready, you call it quits. I was like, this is it, last month, It was right around like September 2008. September 2008.
So you were about 21 years old or so.
21.
Yeah.
And there was an audition that came up. No, I went to this guy named Anthony Hemingway.
Yeah.
Yeah, Anthony Hemingway.
Director,
yeah, right. And went to his house for it was September, but it was right before Thanksgiving. I went over his house for Thanksgiving dinner. And I knew he was up for this movie, Red Tails, with George Lucas and stuff like that. And he told me, he was going, he's gonna get me in on it, you know what I'm saying, give me a, audition. And in my head it was like, yeah, hopefully, what I'm saying, hopefully it's gonna work, what I mean, or hopefully I'm gonna get this job or whatever. But that was the job that gave me enough money to stay in LA, I remember all of us over his house, it's me,
excuse me,
Nate Parker, David Oyelowo, it was Elijah Kelly, Tristan Wilds, just all of us, man. We were just over Leslie Odom Jr.
That's right.
Yeah, Leslie. Yeah, man.
Hamilton.
Yeah, exactly,
wow.
Man. Yeah, we were all in there, man, and it was one of those things where Anthony was like, this is the squad, is what we're gonna go do, something epic, working with George Lucas, go shoot over in Prague, overseas, the whole thing, and that movie saved me. That movie allowed me to stay in LA, and then after that, when I got back, it was just one after another. Things just kept going. Episodics, Friday Night Lights, did that for a couple seasons. Did Parenthood, Chronicle, Parenthood. It just started to roll after that, and So that was the turning point for me. Was Red Tails.
Tell me about your process, because you've played a wide range of characters. Is there a kind of process that, like a lot of actors would say, well, this is my process of getting into character. What is it for you? And when did it start for you to kind of really, immerse yourself in the character and really think about it in that way?
I think, I don't think I had a process until I did Red Tails with Nate Parker. He's an extremely hardworking person, and he gave me the idea of writing a journal, a backstory. So, and from that point on, I would write journals for all my characters. Like the earliest memory that I could think about up until the first page of the script, that's what I would do. And that became my process over time, Up until that point, it was kind of imitating natural talent, God-given talent, what I'm saying? It was just things that I was just kind of like, just trying to make it as real as possible. What would I do if I was in a situation, and just go ahead and convey that as best I could. But that extra layer of like becoming and creating this fictional person, this other guy, was like creating these journals for characters, and that's what I've done ever since.
How did that work for Fruitville Station, which is where as I said to you off camera, first really said, oh, You know, and I've seen you before, but how did it work for that particular role?
That one I didn't really write a journal for because it was, I couldn't really make up things in my head about what his past was.
Yeah.
I really had to get to know him through the people that knew him the best.
Yeah.
You know, his mom, his best friends, his daughter, you know, mother of his child, you know, and really had to capture that as best I could. So I spent a lot of time up in Oakland, and really tried to embody him as best I could, and like just get the essence of who Oscar was. You know, prayed to him. You know what I'm saying? Asked him to kind of be around me and be with me as I was kind of like telling the story and stuff. So, yeah, that was my process on Fruitvale.
I mean, it was an incredible performance. Did you become him? You felt?
In moments, yeah.
Yeah.
I was Oscar for sure. You know, like it was you know, changing the way I, you know, think, you know, I walk, talk. Yeah, I mean that was the first time. I can't say the first time, but that was the first real time that I spent an extended period of time in character. And it's like a muscle, you know. First time out the gate, you're not gonna, you know, for me anyway. You got to keep flexing and working that muscle out, and you stay in it a little bit longer. You stay in it for stretches, you know, even longer stretches, and even longer stretches, even longer stretches, and you know that was how it worked for me.
You know, you make me think about Daniel Day-Lewis, they said he would never come out of character.
Never. Oh man, yeah, Daniel's the guy, man. He's solid, super method, really does it, you know. So that's, you know, to get on that level is incredible. But that's not necessarily my process. And every role for me, you know, it's hard to do that.
Yeah.
Now it's different circumstances because bigger roles, more complex roles, more meat on the bones, you know what I'm saying? More things to work with. When you're younger, you know, you're doing little episodics here, this and that, you know, it's really hard to like, you know, really try to like become somebody else in these little moments and stuff like that, but yeah.
So that role happened, and both you and Ryan Coogler, who's a great director, I have a lot of respect for him as well. I started hearing people saying, oh, this is Scorsese and De Niro. You heard it too.
Yeah.
How do you feel when you hear things like that? You know, people are saying you're De Niro, he's Scorsese. You know, I mean. Yeah,
I mean, shit, man. I mean, those guys been making movies shit longer than I was alive, man. It's crazy, but it's I mean, it's an incredible, you know, honor, man. It's a you know, it's a huge compliment. You know, I feel like, you know, with directors, I mean, you can see anybody. You know, you find a director that finds their muse, you know, somebody that they have a shorthand with, and it's, you know, it's just easier when you're on set, you know, to be able to communicate with somebody. And you know, anybody that's shot a movie, you know, time is money, you know, and you're always watching that clock, you know, those days, trying to get those shots in, those takes in, trying to move on to the next thing. So if you can have an actor that, you know, is talented and do his thing, and you guys have a relationship and a rapport, you want to keep going back to that well, you know, you want to keep working with that guy, you know what I'm saying, continue. So me and him connected on a, you know, on a personal level, you know, on a business level, you know, on a work level, on a human level, you know, we're from similar places. He's from, you know, Richmond, from the Bay. I'm from Newark, New Jersey.
Yeah.
We care about family. We love telling stories. We love filming. And for me, you know, as an actor, you know, I was one piece of the puzzle to try to tell the stories I want to tell and, you know, do the movies I want to do. I need a writer-director that's able to help convey that, you know, that to use me and put me in those roles. So we linked up at a perfect time in my life and our careers, and we've been mobbing out ever since.
How did you meet?
I met Ryan when I was coming back from shooting Chronicle in South Africa.
Okay.
It was right around the time Trayvon Martin got shot. And I remember, you know, me feeling sick, you know, and wanting to, you know, express myself as best I could. But as an actor, especially, you know, a black actor, you know, being political and speaking out on issues at that time, you know, I felt a little nervous to really like speak my truth. I felt like, you know, it was really tough. And I remember, you know, writing stuff on Facebook, deleting it, you know what I'm saying? I can't say that, you know, doing things like, man, I can't. I felt some type of way. And I reached out to my agent, and I was like, man, I want a role that I can show I can act. I want a role that, you know, give me. I don't care. I want a gritty, independent. You know what I'm saying? Something that I could just let me see if I can do it. I want to know if I could carry a film.
And was you spurred by Trayvon Martin getting killed? All of this?
Yeah, it all kind of happened one after another. It was like that happened. You know, I wanted to express myself, and I remember calling him and being like, hey, man, like I want to, and not knowing this was in the pipeline, or knowing that, you know, Ryan Coogler was, you know, at the Sundance Lab writing, you know, with this script. I was talking to this assistant that worked at the agency that I was at the time, and, you know, and knowing that he was going to tell her to get my agent that script. And so these two things were happening at the same time without knowing about each other. So when I said what I said, and just so happened the script came through, and, you know, I read it, was, you know, cried, like, read it again, cried again. Yeah. I was like, man, wait till I get back to, you know, LA. I want to sit down and meet this guy. Sat down and met him in the Valley at Starbucks. I remember after the first like 10 minutes of talking to him, I was like, all right, let's do it. I was convinced.
Wow. And that's how it happened.
Yeah. And then a couple weeks after that, we were talking about, a week or two after that, we were talking about Creed.
That fast?
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, I saw Fruitville in New York with one of my fraternity brothers from Texas. We sat there, after the movie's over, we just sat there, we both just started crying. And didn't say anything, you know, because we were that blown away by the performance, you know. Creed.
Yes, sir.
You had Sylvester Stallone.
Sly.
How did that happen?
How did it happen? Ryan did a lot of that work, honestly, and Ryan really, he had a vision. He pitched it to, you know, Adam Bennett, who happened, you know, who was Sly's agent, you know,
So Ryan came with the idea of resuscitating the franchise.
Without a doubt.
Wow.
Yeah. Ryan, you know, Sly took some massaging, you know what I'm saying, to get him on board. You know, obviously it's his baby, you know, it's his franchise, things that he's created a long time ago. He holds very dear to him and stuff like that. And you got this young kid who never made a real movie before even Fruitvale came out or anything, you know, telling he wants to, like, you know, do this thing about Apollo Creed's son, you know. And, you know, we went, you know, I think Ryan pitched it to him a couple times or whatever. He still kind of said nah or whatever. And then Ryan went off and, you know, me and Ryan went and shot that Fruitvale. Won Sundance, you know, premiered in Cannes, you know, got all these accolades, and then, you know, Sly slowly started to come around, and Creed became more real. So that's kind of how that went down.
What did he say about Fruitvale, or your performance in Fruitvale?
I mean, I can't remember exactly what he said, man, but you know, I think he liked it.
I assume so.
I think he liked it. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, you're talking about one of the major movie icons of the last 40 years or so, Sly Stallone. I mean, when you realized this was happening, I mean, what was your reaction?
It's weird because I guess I knew about it for so long. Yeah. And I mean, to be perfectly honest, man, my life is so crazy. Like, things just happen. You know, yeah, I know where they come from. You know what I'm saying? There's certain things that are outside of my control that I'm just walking my path and try to stay out my own way. You know, some of the times.
Where does it come from?
I mean, you know, it's the spirit, man. The karma, the energy, the universe conspires to make a lot of these things happen. You know, that's why I try to, you know, stay as good a person as I can, treat people how I want to be treated, throw that good karma and that energy out in the world, and, you know, hopefully it comes back to me. You know, that's kind of how I live my life. And so deep down, I knew it was going to happen. So when it came around, it was like, okay, it happened again. You know, it's almost like, you know, you're waiting for this thing to stop happening. Yeah. And then you get to a point and you get old enough to kind of, like, you know, look at it and it's like, nah, this is your path is written in a certain sense. You know, you gotta walk it and continue to push that shit through.
It's deep because you mentioned something earlier about, you know, as a youth, a young youth. I sound like Wu-Tang Clan, young youth. Young youth. But, you know, you're a black male in America. Yeah. And a lot of black males don't get these kind of opportunities.
Yes, sir.
Do you suffer with some of us? I would add myself, you know, some of us suffer from survivor's guilt. Like, why us? Did you?
Without a doubt.
Why?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man, because, like, you know, why me? You know, why, what? Like I said, I'm from Newark, New Jersey. I got friends and, you know, peers, other actors that I think are extremely talented, grew up in an audition room, see them all the time for auditioning for roles. Like, why me? Why am I the only one that gets this? And, I used to feel a little like, animosity from, other actors and, you know what I mean? From, why, you're the one that's getting the roles that are working and they're not as much. So it's a certain, the way the industry, is, at the time and, and kind of right now, it's like, it kind of naturally pits and creates this competition between each other. And it's not a friendly competitiveness. It's not a friendly competition. It becomes more standoffish. I ain't gonna say what's up to him. We can see each other at a party. I ain't gonna say hi, nah. It's like nobody wants to, be the one to come over and say hello. And I remember that a couple times, man. And then, I never really felt intimidated by anybody. You know what I'm saying? I always looked at it like, what's for me is for me, and can't nobody take that away from me. What's for you is for you, and I can't take nothing away from you. I guess kind of started me to thinking in a certain type of way of like wanting to kind of create more and kind of like not just be an actor and wanting to produce and wanting to, how do I fix this thing that I'm in that I don't really feel comfortable in right now? How do I change that? What's the long term, what's the long ball on that? How do I fix this?
Wow. Be in control of your own destiny.
How do I do that?
Yeah.
How do I do that? So yeah, it is a little bit of survivor's remorse, naturally. And I don't think it's just what it is.
Yeah.
You wanna. Usually we come from nothing. We usually come from poverty. So when you get something, you usually got a lot of friends and family that you care about that you want to help also. And a lot of times you don't have enough to help everybody. And then if you do try, you end up going back to the same position that they were in or we're in, and then we all back sitting at each other, looking at each other like, what are we gonna do now?
That's real.
That's real, man. So it's like, for me, I always enjoy reverse engineering things. I always like seeing something like, all right, I know where I wanna go, how do I get there? What's the creative, it was fun for me to find ways to get the things that I wanted.
What did you learn working on Creed, just the film, but then what did you learn from being around Sly Stallone, who's been in this business for a long time, and he's seen the ups and downs of it all?
Man, I got a lot of business sense from him, man. He he's real smart with his money.
Yeah.
He knows audiences really well. He knows filmmaking really well. What makes a good story. How to arc out films. He's a real smart dude, and really, and he also believes in himself. He bet on himself. Through
really
and through.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the biggest things that I took from him is like you got to believe in yourself. You got to bet on yourself.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I did.
They didn't want him to play Rocky in the beginning. They said, "We'll take your script."
Yeah, we'll take your script. We give you this money. He's like, nah, man, I can't do that.
Did he share that story with you?
Yeah, he did, man. And it was super inspiring. And I kind of got that same spirit. To kind of want to, bet on myself. I don't really chase money. I feel like that's gonna come, whenever it comes. But, I just want to do things that I really care about, and roles that characters and movies and projects I want to be a part of. I want to inspire, man. I want to really, change the landscape, of the game.
Well, let's talk about that for a second. So, as you're talking, and we talked about it off camera, we mentioned Sidney Poitier, we mentioned Harry Belafonte.
Yes.
You're talking about two legends who turned 90 years old, just in the last year. And
how insane is that?
Yeah, and they're both here.
Yep.
We're from New Jersey. There's someone named Paul Robeson who came from New Jersey.
Yeah, I know Paul.
One of the great actors.
Yeah, athletes, actors.
You said earlier that you were nervous, you would erase messages you post on social media, but now you want to talk about, I was told you want to talk about race, you want to talk about diversity. What has shifted for you in these few years of success and stardom and everything? And what platform do you feel you have now?
It's becoming more unapologetic.
Yeah.
Why? I think, because before I wasn't that confident in myself. I think it was, you still got a little fear of things can go away because you can lose anything at any moment. Nothing's guaranteed.
Right.
And I think that same notion that kind of kept me really hesitant. And I'm still smart about the way things that I say and how I speak and move because the world is the world. The world is what it is.
Yeah.
You know. But I think the times are changing, where I feel the responsibility, of my people, my community, that look to me to be an example, and especially through the work that the work that I do and the roles that I portray and the platform that I have, that I would be doing them a disservice if I didn't speak up for, the people that look to me to set an example. And the temperature and the climate right now of the world, especially the U.S., is in a crazy place.
Yeah.
The first time I've seen it, usually, people from the older generation can say they've seen this before. This is the first time I'm going through it. I'm 30 years old, and the Sidney Poitiers and the Harry Belafontes, they've been through this already.
Yeah.
And a lot worse than it is right now. So it'd be almost disrespectful to what they went through and, the things they sacrificed to not, continue to bang down that door, to continue to pick up the baton for where they left off and just keep it moving. Obviously, the game has changed a little bit. You're not quite fighting the same as you were back then, but it's still a fight.
Yeah.
And I got to do that in my own way, how our generation is doing it right now. So, that's what I'm doing.
Who are your heroes and sheroes?
First off, mom and dad, off top, goes without saying. They set the example. They gave me my mentality. That's I'm forever thankful for. I always tell them that, man. Thank you for giving me the way I think, the way I process, the way I see the world, because that's everything for me.
How much of a blessing is it to be able to say you have a mother and a father that are there and together?
Man, it's huge. A lot of my friends ain't have that. I was the only one really growing up with both those that were together. All my friends and family, for the most part, they would always come to my crib. My dad, we always cooked a lot. Always had food at the house. Always poor, you know what I'm saying? Now looking back at it, it was extremely poor, but didn't really feel like it when I was a kid because they always found, a great way. Great parents found a way to hide things from the kids. You know what I'm saying? So we definitely really feel it growing up. But, my house was the house that, we had Kwanzaa celebrations. Everybody would come over and, eat great food and this and that and, get good lessons. My dad would take us all, to the Poconos, go fishing, go camping, go out to Asbury, do things with us and stuff like that. So, he really set an example of, what a man was, work all night, used to work nights, used to see him, come home first thing in the morning, sleep, still be there for us to get up, go to school, be gone, come back home, you won't be there, just that whole thing, man. My parents sacrificed a lot, and my mom did as well, so it was a lot. But yeah, super blessed. So I want to say my mom and dad heroes for sure off top.
Who else do you look up to or have?
It's crazy because I never really looked up to a lot of celebrities or figures like that growing up because it was so far out there for me. It was so unreachable. It was so not my world. Man, it's such a big gap. I just never really really looked up to anybody like that growing up.
So how do you feel when people come up to you now and say, I look up to you? Michael B. Jordan.
Blows my mind. I was like, me? This guy?
Huh.
What did I do? I was like, wow.
Done a lot.
Yeah, I know, but it's crazy. I still even with this whole social media thing, it's crazy. I got people, that really care, they want to know what I'm doing, what's going on. They care about, this stuff. And, it still kind of blows my mind that I'm that guy, that I'm now in the position to be that guy. And I think it's all that's kind of, that accepting where you are, coming from a place that used to be scared of success, the fear of success, of owning it, owning where you're at, owning your position, feeling like you deserve it. It all kind of goes hand in hand, And I'm kind of finally, begrudgingly, with the help of my friends, family, people that know me, that rock out with me all the time, they help me be the man I need to be.
How do you define manhood? Because you said your father taught you what it was to be a man. What does it mean to you now?
Making choices and standing behind them, making smart choices, sacrificing things, that are for the sacrificing yourself for things that are bigger than you. Doing the right thing, even when nobody's looking. I'm human. Obviously, it's a work in progress.
Yeah.
But I'm very self-aware, and I know where my shortcomings are, and I try to address them as much as I can. Try to be real, man. Try to be real. Try to be real as much. Not even try to be real. Just be real, man. Just be real. And so my dad and my mom, and I've been blessed to have, like I said, man, I got so many strong male figures around me. That kind of give me the example from all walks of life, man. Like that just, I take a little bit from the people that, like I said, it really does take a village to raise anybody, but then your community, the people you surround yourself with, that you are all supposed to be learning from one another. You're all supposed to be picking, from taking something from, everybody's not the same, best friends, everybody got qualities about them that, that are amazing, and try to learn a little bit from everybody, try to take a little bit from everybody, be inspired a little bit from everybody, and then try to just be the best version of yourself.
I want to throw something at you.
What's up?
Sidney Poitier came from the Bahamas
Yes.
to America, 1940s. He was looking for a job. He was hustling the way you were, young man. And he saw 2 ads. One said dishwasher, one said actor. He picked actor. 10 years later, about Dr. King, got his PhD, young man, 26 years old. He just wanted to have a little church with his wife and do his thing. He landed in Montgomery, Alabama, Rosa Parks, the rest is history. Some people are called to do certain things. Do you feel you were called to do what you do?
Yes.
Why?
Don't know.
Just is.
Because I could take it. I feel like doing what I do, acting, it's not just acting, it's, what goes into becoming an actor. People see the end result. They see the lights, they see the premieres, they see the movies. They don't see the time that you put in by yourself. They don't see the lonely journey. They don't see the auditions that you go in where you hear, no, you're not this, you're not that. They don't see the moments where you're sleeping in your car. They don't see the moments where, you gotta go to 7-Eleven and, dollar item this, dollar item that, you don't, when you gotta go into a gas station, swipe your card, get gas, and then hurry up and go inside a convenience store and try to get, some chips and, a frozen pizza or whatever before it says decline, because, you ain't got that much money in your account.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like they don't see those moments.
Yeah.
They don't see the, the moments you stay up all night, man, studying these lines, rehearsing, and then you go into an audition and you don't get it again and 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 again, but somehow you still have faith and believe that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. So it's like, then when you do get successful, you do get some success, it's now you're getting ridiculed and judged, by everybody. Most of the time your own people, they want to cannibalize you as much as possible. Oh, you're not this, you're not that, you're not this, you're not that, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. It's tough, it's tough, but for the same people that you're trying to uplift and you're trying to do things for, and then being a black man in America, you have, a systemic oppression that's there, a system that's put in place that's always constantly ripping you down, telling you what you're not good enough, color of your skin, it's tough being a black man, in America, man. It's tough being, it comes with a lot. So it's why am I chosen to do what I do? I feel like because it's a weight I'm willing and able to bear for whatever reason. And I'm still trying to figure this shit out.
What's the, you talked about the spotlight that's on you. And I've read a lot of stuff, about you, and I'm a big fan, as I said. What's the biggest misconception about Michael B. Jordan? People just, because people can say anything on social media now and it becomes the truth. Like, what would you want to clear up that's just not accurate that's been put out there?
I've been blessed that it hasn't been really that many things that's been misconstrued because I kind of stayed out the way. I don't put that much out there to give people. I let people know what I want them to know. I've been really good about kind of staying to myself and keeping my business to myself and just keeping things very, very Trojan horse in it, you know what I'm saying? There's a certain thing that you got to do, to become leading man, to be able to have an international draw, to be able to be the best actor I could be so I could be in a position to create my production company, to be able to create more opportunities, more roles for, men, women, people of color, all ethnicities to kind of reverse engineer this whole, this prejudice, racist shit, you know what I mean?
You said reverse engineer.
Yeah, you have to. You gotta almost incept ideas to people to get them to come to the idea themselves. You can't tell somebody to change the way they think or tell somebody to be something that, that they are. You gotta let them come to that decision. You have to help them, think it's their idea.
What does diversity mean to you in Hollywood and in general?
Diversity means to me, that word itself is like such a, such baggage now. It's like, diversity only really makes sense in a system where it lacks. If it's not lacking equal opportunity, then there's no need for diversity. It's just, it is what it is. Everybody has an opportunity, and it's a balanced environment to work, period. In the world, in the industry, you're taking a path, film, that for the longest, since the beginning of film, has been, for white people. And then slowly allowing other ethnicities to be able to contribute, be able to tell stories, be able to act outside of the stereotypes, to just be a regular person. And I think as times change, as people evolve, as things get better, you have civil rights movements, you got certain things that, moments in time in history that allow us to get to the point that we are today, where you see so many men and women behind the camera. It's not even just, a colored thing. It's, women are getting more and more opportunities, in all different, lanes, politics, education, scientific, sports, everything. You know what I'm saying? It's always been, mankind has been evolving over time. So when it comes to, the film industry and, film and television, it's, technology has changed. I feel like anybody could pick up an iPhone now and become, a filmmaker.
Yeah.
You can make whatever you want to make. So I feel like the fact that technology has evolved, that there's been a thirst, the internet's there. There's less and less secrets. Everything's coming out everywhere about the people that have to be a little bit more honest and address things for what they are.
I've noticed that LeBron James, arguably the biggest athlete in the world, has become more outspoken about racism and said, just because I'm a successful, wealthy black man doesn't mean I experience it. Do you agree with what he has been saying? Yeah,
I mean, at the end of the day, he's at a point right now where he feels like, can't nobody take nothing away from him. He's got to the point now. He's got it. He's comfortable. And now he's finally able to do and say the things that he's probably always thought and wanted to do, but never felt like it wasn't the right time for him to say and do that, because it would be cannibalizing himself in a way, but also taking away the best shot at making a real impact. Hats off to Colin Kaepernick. I mean, that's a man, you know what I'm saying, who's able to take something that he's done day in and day out since he was a kid, give up his dream, put that on the back burner for the betterment, to make an example, to really start the conversation in a real way again, for everybody. And I think that's super honorable. Very important.
It could be argued that one of the roles that you played, Oscar Grant, helped to fuel Colin Kaepernick. He's paying a big price right now. How do you feel when people like him stand up to racism and then they end up paying this price? You know,
it was a calculated decision by him. I feel like it's something that he knew going into it, but sending that message meant more to him. And it started this conversation, you know, to the point where even the president of the free world right now is forced to address that and make it even a bigger conversation.
Yeah.
And it's hard to turn away from that. Other entertainers, athletes, artists, et cetera, everybody's having to look at themselves in the mirror, man, you know, and really, you know, see what you're gonna stand for. You're gonna be quiet or you're not? Are you gonna be involved in this or you're not going to? I think everybody have different roles.
What's your role?
My role, I think, is constantly being defined, but I'm a strategist. I'm a thinker. I wanna provide. I wanna create opportunities. I wanna lead. And I want to bring people together. And I've been doing that. Got a lot more work to do. And I'm just getting started. I feel like there's a time and place for everything. Like I said, I'm always 10, 15. I'm the guy, I'm always seeing 10 steps ahead. I'm always the guy that's, you know, that's playing the game. You know, but at the same time, you know, but not without compromise. You know what I'm saying? Not without, you know, playing the game, but at the same time not compromising myself. Or it's a compromising myself, meaning like my morals, my values, you know, where I stand, you know, what I believe in, things that I believe in. Those are always gonna stay the same. But I know the game and the industry that I'm in also. You know, I know how it's played because I've been doing it for 2 decades. I've been doing it long enough. So you gotta be smart. You gotta be strategic. You know, and you gotta. It's a certain way you gotta move, and that's what I've been doing. So I guess sometimes, you know, you think like you want to do things on your time. You know, in your brain, sometimes you feel like, as a human, you feel like. The simplest things, you know, I want to lose weight. You know, when are you gonna start doing it? And I'm gonna do it when the time is right. When's right? Man, you know, my birthday. That's when I'm gonna start. Birthday roll around. Still ain't been, you know, you ain't been in the gym. You ain't eating right. No, I'm gonna wait for New Year's. New Year's is when I'm gonna start. All right, New Year's come around. You know, New Year's resolutions, all that stuff's out the window. When you gonna start again? You know what? I'm gonna wait for the summer. I'm gonna get right for the summer. Yeah, summer I'm gonna start eating right. And it's never the right time. And I think as a human, sometimes you feel like you always gotta wait for the right time, what makes sense to you to actually start executing, to actually stop making excuses, to doing the things that you always really wanted to do. And I'm starting to find myself, you know, and I'm guilty of that. And I'm starting to find myself now being like, nah, there is no right time to do anything. You just gotta start doing.
The year of your film, Black Panther, is the 10-year anniversary of Barack Obama becoming the first black, first biracial, first multicultural president of the United States. You want to talk about race and racism and diversity. What do you think about as this film is hitting the screens? You know, because I grew up with Superman and Batman and Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man, but you know, I didn't know that there were black superheroes. You know? What do you think about when you look at where we are, how far we've come since Sidney and Mr. Belafonte, since Mr. Porter and Mr. Belafonte, but also where we are in 2018?
Man, I feel like we came a long way. I mean, that's the obvious thing, man. We came a long way. 10 years since Obama, man, that's insane. I remember the day he got elected. I still got the newspapers. Went out and bought so many newspapers.
That was around the time you were about to quit acting.
That's exactly where it was. I was living in Los Feliz. Yeah, I remember that. It's I feel like the time, it's the perfect storm right now, you know?
For your movie or for?
For everything.
Okay.
I think it's for everything. You know, you got this, okay, even if you want to talk about the movie, just the movie, what it had to take for this movie to actually take place. You have to have a director that's successful, right? A black director, you know?
And a director is?
Ryan Coogler. Yeah, Ryan Coogler has had to have a, you know, breakout film in Sundance, breakout film in Cannes, you know, Creed, just to get to the opportunity to be in a conversation to do a movie like Black Panther, you know, however hundreds of $1 million budget the movie ends up being, whatever, boom, that's gotta happen. You gotta have a lead actor, like Chadwick Boseman. He has to have all the successes that he had to have from film to film, movie, you know, all the movies that he's done to kind of get to the place he is now. You gotta have, you know, me, myself, like all the things that I had to do to get to a point now where I could play, you know, Eric Killmonger, Lupita, all the things that she had to go through to get to her place, to get to where she's at. Deny, all the successes that she had to, you know, Ruth Carter, you know, our wardrobe designer, you know, Daniel from Get Out, Kaluuya, don't kill me, Daniel, I love you. Killed last night. For, you know, all the success that he had to kind of be in that role, it had to be this perfect storm to happen, you know what I'm saying, in order for this movie to take place. And then a studio that felt that, you know, it was the right time to back, you know, a film that's with a predominantly black cast that hasn't been done before at this budget, you know what I'm saying? That they felt comfortable enough that it was gonna, you know, make an impact, make a statement, and make money, because this is a business, you know what I'm saying? And dollars, and it is about money, you know what I'm saying? This is a business. And I want to, like, a lot of people don't really realize that it takes so much to happen for a movie to take place. So many things have had to conspire to happen to get however many hundreds of people that it takes to kind of come together and make a movie. It's not a song where you can go in there, one person can go in there and do whatever, make the beat, put a song out, and everybody loves it, lives forever, you know what I'm saying? We don't have that ability to do when it comes to filmmaking, you know, it's a different type of thing. So, I feel like that movie was the right time.
How important is this film? Why is it important?
I think it's extremely important. I feel like I never had that many actors to look at to inspire me growing up.
You mean black actors?
Black actors.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like that I could identify with that looks like me on screen. You know, I used to see all these other films, you know, growing up, and I would automatically try to imagine myself. Yeah, I would be playing make-believe and stuff like that, you know, X-Men and all this other cartoons and stuff like that, you know. But it's a totally different thing, you know. I watch Blade, you know what I'm saying? I see Wesley up there, and I'm like, oh man, that's dope. That's awesome. I don't gotta try that hard to imagine it, because I'm seeing somebody that kind of, you know what I'm saying, that kind of resembles me. And I'm just thinking about what I'm doing, what this movie's gonna do to the younger generation, the kids growing up. I'm saying,
which kids? Black kids?
White kids? All kids? White kids, all kids, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, because they can imagine just as much as we can, you know? But specifically it's black and brown kids, you know what I'm saying, that have that many positive examples to look at on TV and film, you know? So we're giving black people in power, royalty. We're royalty. We come from good stuff. We ain't gotta be the crackhead or the gangbanger, you know what I'm saying, or selling drugs or the dope or robbing people or, you know, the comic relief and this and that. We ain't gotta be just that. We could do other stuff. We could do this.
You could be superheroes.
We could be superheroes. Oh man, that's crazy. Now imagine what that's gonna do to the imagination and the ambitions of these kids growing up that's watching these movies. And that's what I feel like is super important. You know what I mean? That's what I feel like is the real impact of this film's gonna be. And also, you know, and it's not just for black and brown kids, you know, it's a movie that's, because this is what I'm saying, it's like when you watch Star Wars, or you know, or you know, Lord of the Rings. I'm a big fan. I watch them just all the time. You know, I love it, and I'm able to go there and fantasize and think about what it would be like in that world with dragons and you know, hobbits and all this other creation. I mean, that's awesome. I enjoy it. Harry Potter, all that stuff is amazing. I am a big fan, huge.
I hear a butt coming.
No, it's no real, but when it's a predominantly black cast, everybody wants to act like, you know, or project that it's only for black audiences. But like, why? Why is that? That doesn't make sense to me. Why can't these same, you know, everybody else look at this movie and still be inspired and still fantasize and still go on for that journey? They should be able to do that. And if you can't, then that's the problem.
It seems like you're saying that the last frontier is Hollywood because people look up to LeBron of all races. I can tell you for a fact that where I've been in the world, people worship Tupac, all races, all cultures, and hip hop in general.
Without a doubt.
What is it about film, TV, Hollywood that this is like one of the places? Thank you. One of the places. Good look. No,
Yeah, you gotta go back to it. Okay. Yeah, I got you.
What is it about? What is it about this being the last frontier? You know, why is it these images are the hardest thing to penetrate, and why you want to do the work that you do going forward, producing?
I think because when it comes to sports, athletically, we push the culture. You know what I'm saying? We've always been, you know, physically right there at the top of the food chain. Music, very creative, push the culture in music. A lot, you know, hip hop culture, R&B, jazz, blues, always been, you know, pretty much at the top of the food chain. Push the culture, influence cultures, trendsetters. When it comes to, and something that, you know, that it's a solo journey sometimes, you know, as a you know, athlete, you know, you practice by yourself, do what you gotta do, you know what I'm saying, get on a team, you can break boundaries, you can do that, you know, you have control over your own self, your own body, you can do that. When it comes to film, there's so many other components that has to go into making a film, a movie, in order to get people to kind of buy into going into paying this ticket to go see this thing that's gonna recoup everybody that spent their time to make this movie. And I think that's one of the major reasons why it took so long to get to where we are now. It's a slower burn, it's a slower process, just for what it is as film. And then having the opportunity, you know, like going to, you know, having funds to go buy a ticket to go to the movies and be able to contribute and go, you know, it was a different time. Like I said, that's why I said timing's everything. 10 years for, you know, like I said, since Obama been in office, it's been I don't know how many years since, you know, the Black Panther comic book has come out to where it is today. It has to be the perfect storm right now that we're having this conversation about diversity in Hollywood. It's one of the, like you said, one of the last frontiers, last industries that's kind of really starting to break those barriers, not just from a color thing, but even from you know a women empowerment perspective as well. So it's a great time. It's an amazing time, and the internet and technology has a lot to do with that also.
My last question, because you've mentioned women a few times, and I get a feeling that you've mentioned your mother a lot. You've mentioned women a lot in this conversation.
Yeah.
Hashtag Me Too has exploded. What are your thoughts as a man, you know, about what's going on?
Into the industry?
Yeah, just sexism in general.
I mean, I think it's just a cleansing. I think it's a power thing. You know, and that's in all industries. You know, I feel like whenever there's power and there's men in power, there's going to be an abuse of power. That's human nature. I think that's just what it is. I feel like the conversation is how do we hold people accountable and responsible for having that power. And it's a cleansing going on right now. An old way of doing things, an old way of what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. Culture of Hollywood is changing now, on all levels, behind the camera, in front of the camera. And whenever there's a change, you know, whenever there's a shift in any power or a shift in culture, it's gonna be rough at first. It's gonna be jarring. It's gonna be pretty intense. And we're going through that stage right now on a lot of different levels. So I think it's needed and it's necessary, and I'm glad it's coming out, you know, and I'm very, you know, I'm empathetic and very
to women,
you know, and men, you know, to whoever, it's kids too, man, you know what I'm saying, who's been put in compromising situations. You know, it's tough, you know, but at the same time, it has to happen. You know, this has to happen to get this out there, because now you have to hold people accountable. Now there's a fear because people are that were scared or afraid to say or speak their truth now are feeling more comfortable about coming out and saying what's on their mind. And I think that's going to keep a lot of people honest. It's going to keep people fear of trying to use their power for bad and not for good. People are going to be a little bit more responsible with the positions that they're in right now. And that's taught down. You know, the assistants that are coming up, the producers that are, around, the actors that are coming up, everybody's learning from this right now. Everybody's learning. So, the next crop, that's what you gotta do. You just gotta sometimes you gotta weed these motherfuckers out. So the next crop that come up can learn the right way, how to do things. So when they do get in positions of power, when they do get in those positions, they can continue that blueprint. They can continue the right way of doing things. They can pass that on to the next generation, and they can come up. And if we can keep passing on the right thing and sending the right messages to these kids growing up, then we can start seeing real changes in the world. That's the same thing with education. That's the issue right now. We have a lot of old way of thinking across the board in the world right now. We have a lot of old way of doing things that they used to get away with a lot. And now these kids, they're not as dumb as they used, you know what I'm saying? They're not actually not as dumb as they used to be, but they're not as gullible and they're naive. They have access to information. They can see things for themselves. They can learn more, and they're calling people out.
You're a leader?
Very much so.
Why?
Because I have to be.
Like Malcolm, like Martin, like the Black Panthers?
I'm a mixture of both.
Huh.
I'm a little bit of Malcolm, a little bit of Martin. You gotta have moments. You gotta be smart. There's moments where you gotta be a little bit more like Martin, and there's moments where you have to be like Malcolm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you, Howard.